Hello dear students, welcome in this case to our fifth unit. Today what we are going to do is just to focus on a specific vocabulary that is going to help you just like to develop your skills in public, okay? More so when you're gonna interact or communicate with other people. So the main intention is that the main topic that we have for our class is the usage of modal expressions for showing attitudes or emotions, right? So, what's important over here? Firstly, we need to clarify what modal expressions are. So, take into account that it's totally different, guys, when you're going to make use of a modal verb and a modal expression. Why? Because the modal verbs generally are going to have specific functions. For example, when you focus on can, that is for abilities. For example, must for obligation, and might for possibilities. But in this context, the modal expressions are going to try to tell us something else. So that's the reason why we can't take them literally. Okay? So something really important, maybe that is going to help you to locate in this part, is that in this case, when we focus on modal expressions, they are going to help you to express your attitude, or in this case, as you can read over the side, the speaker's attitude, emotions, or reactions. Okay? Those ones are really common in spoken English, but it's really important to realize that in writing is not common or typical because it's just more like part of the interaction, and in some specific contexts, they tend to be informal too. Okay? So, what are we going to do right now? Firstly, let's go to take into account the structure that needs to be used. Okay, so in this context, what you are going to realize is that we are going to make use of the modal verb, but there is an auxiliary verb plus a complement. For example, here, you must be joking. So if you focus on this one, you are trying to express an assumption, no, a strong assumption. So here you have the interpretation. Speaker believes something is not true. For example, this one picks my fly. Okay, what's the point over there? So you're gonna make reference of the might just for showing possibility, but what's the matter? In this context, is not referring to it. What you are trying to say when you say picks my fly is just no chance at all, right? And finally, you have this one that is like, hey, you should have known better. So what's the intention with this one? Is just to critique about a past action. So here you have like the specific interpretations for each one of them. So if you refer to you must be joking, so the intention is you like to express surprise or disbelief. For example, he says he's marrying that flirty actress. You must be joking. So in other words, it's unbelievable exactly what is happening, right? In the case of pigs might fly, so remember this, is going to make reference to a fixed idiom to say something that is impossible or ridiculous. For instance, here, that pushy guy says he will never argue again. So pigs might fly. Here you have the idea. Hmm? So it's something that is impossible, something that is ridiculous. Don't forget it. And finally, you should have no better. So the intention is to express disapproval or disappointment. For instance, she trusted her unpredictable boyfriend again. You should have known better. Okay, so the intention over there is just like to address the person, or just to tell the person, like, well, it's something that was obvious, yeah, but at the same time, you're criticizing, excuse me, or judging the option. So, what are the key points? First of all, that you need to realize that those ones are modal-based idioms, so the meaning is not the same as when you use the simple modal verb. They help us to express emotions, no facts. Okay? They are common in informal spoken English, something that I told you at the beginning, and generally they are common or just like are really useful at the moment when you are gonna make dialogues or you are gonna participate in debates. Okay? Because it's just like a part of the common fluent speech. What are the common mistakes? Well, one was like something that I told you previously, and it's when you take, for example, the modal verb literally, like here, for example, students sometimes translate it, sorry, or this I like, you must be joking. So what is the equivalent for this one? You have to joke. So if you make reference to this one, look at that. It's not that you have to, that's not an obligation for you. Okay? So the point over there is to realize that in this case, if you think that this is just like interpreting or referring to the same, no. Okay? So other important point, when you overuse them in informal writing, if you're gonna make a writing, as I told you before, it's not like a common or proper to make use of them. Okay, the intention would be like if, for example, you plan to use those modal expressions, try to do it while you are talking, okay? Because obviously in the writing and depending on the writing text that you have to develop, so they can affect the text, they can affect the production that you are doing. Over there, you're gonna find all the examples with modal verbs. For example, with must, you have like, okay, you must be joking, you must be kidding, you must be crazy, or he must be lying. So over there, you like to show a strong assumption. Don't forget it. Well, just like the modal verb with the to be plus this complement that generally is going to be like a very past participle, or in some cases an adjective. Okay. So over there, you have other examples that maybe you can try to check later. But in this moment, guys, well, I just want, sorry, to focus on remembering this, no? Just like, okay, remember must is just referring to strong assumptions. So it's like an equivalent when you're going to show disbelief. Might is just like thinking of possibilities, but if you focus on idioms, it's more like an irony or sarcasm. And if you are going to use the should have, generally it's going to be a critic about something that happened or occurred in the past. Okay? So guys, I guess that is the first lesson that we have for this unit. So thank you so much for paying attention and we'll see you on the second lesson of unit number 5. Bye bye.